if you go back to our original reporting here on the Big Ten, and I think this is important because today the news broke that Oregon, Washington, Stanford, and Cal are joining the Big Ten. That broke today on August 2nd.
The Monty Show.
We have exclusively reported on this show the Big Ten has gone back to its TV partners. And remember who's involved in this deal. You've got Fox, who's got the early kickoff, big noon, Saturday, Big Ten, your mom's house, kicking off football on a Saturday on Fox.
Right.
Then the 3:30 window goes to CBS and the late window goes to NBC. CBS and NBC have agreed to come back to the table with a little more money and supply finances to bring in Stanford, Cal, Oregon, and Washington. Should that be available to them? Should that happen? I mean, that's what is that, May 24th?
Yeah.
It's May 24th. Almost 3 months ago. So, hey man, I think, based on what everybody else, like Dan Wetzel has been reporting today that Tony Petitti has been doing due diligence on Oregon, Washington, Stanford, and Cal. I mean, maybe they've renewed that. They did their due diligence in mid-May.
Yeah, let's cut the crap here, right? Tony Petitti didn't just wake up today and be like, oh, yeah, well, today seems like a good idea to go ahead and call Phil Knight. I better figure out
if Phil Knight's legit.
Right? Today seems like a good day to see if Phil Knight can come up with a Big Ten special for week 1 next year. No, that's not what's going on here, dude. This conversation with these 4 schools being a, quote, package deal is not new. It's not broken today. It was broken then by us. And the point here is that Tony Petitti, much like Brett Yormark, I might add, is somebody who is not an administrator. He's not like an educational person.
Tony
this guy's
Petitti's
done business,
he's
dude.
a TV guy. He came from NBC. But I think it's hysterical. You'll remember we tweeted and took a ton of heat for this tweet. We tweeted that our sources had told us, well, hey, the Big Ten wants to add, but they don't want to be seen as raiding the Pac-12.
Right.
Dan Wetzel today said the key remains the Big Ten doesn't want to be predatory, would only move if other dominoes fall in the Pac-12.
So let's review. What did we just say to start the show? Utah, Arizona, and ASU are now together based on our sources moving to the Big 12.
Yes.
So now that that's happening, right? And I think it's a super important point when it comes to the Big Ten. Colorado going wasn't enough, and you need to understand that, right? Oregon, Washington, Stanford, and Cal. Remember, we're cleared and vetted, and everything was cool, and and if it were going to happen, those schools are ready to go. But Colorado wasn't the catalyst here for the Big Ten starting to move. It's now this conversation, and this is why I continue to tell you guys, don't buy into just the national reporter telling you something's happening. Because once they start reporting it, it's likely that they're 3 weeks behind on it. Honestly, and I'm not even being disrespectful. Their job is to report when they hear it from those people. Those people are never going to give it to those guys in current time, right? So that's why I say, trust me when I tell you guys.
Trust me, bro.
The Utah, Arizona schools relationship is why the Big Ten is now able to act.
Yeah, I would agree. And I think it is not surprising at all that you're seeing significant movement now. And I think this is, as our source said today, Colorado was just the beginning. Colorado's just the beginning. That's as straightforward as I think it needs to be said. And so, listen, if you're just tuning in, number one, please hit the like button. Appreciate everybody watching, and we are in 30 minutes. We are well over 5,000 views already. So if you're watching, please hit the thumbs up. Give us a like. It really helps the channel grow. And if you are not, please consider subscribing. That, of course, is we're trying to get to 25,000 subs now. So please help us with that. If you are here, we appreciate everybody. But the news today, before we get to your comments, sources told us just before we came to air that the Pac-12 is going to likely lose Arizona, Arizona State, and Utah as a group to the Big 12. And very interesting, there's been a lot of questions about what the Arizona Board of Regents has to or does not have to do. the people that we've spoken to, there's a pretty strong belief there that the Arizona Board of Regents does not have to act to allow Arizona or Arizona State to move. There's a pretty strong belief that Arizona and Arizona State can do what they want to do. And I think that this executive session yesterday pretty well cemented that. I mean, I think it's pretty clear from what we've been told that Bobby Robbins at Arizona, the president, he pretty much is in control of this situation. Michael Crow and the Board of Regents are going to fall in lockstep with Bobby Robbins. And I can tell you that Bobby Robbins and Michael Crow, the president in Arizona State, have talked daily, multiple times about this situation. That's what we were told. I am told that Taylor Randall, Robbins, and Crow have all spoken regularly about this. This process is well down the road. Well down the road. So I feel really strongly that that is going to happen. I would think it's going to be a larger undertaking than just flipping a switch like Colorado had done. Because I don't believe that Utah had been in process of this at all until the weekend. I think once the weekend got here, that's when real serious conversations happen. Because the other thing you got to remember is all of these presidents knew the TV deals that were available to them. They knew this Apple deal was coming. This was not some, oh my God, he's got a deal. That's not what this was. This was already presented. They had already talked about this Apple option where 99% of the games were on Apple. One game a week was on probably ESPN on a Friday night. Your third best game on a Friday night on ESPN. They knew this was possible. They knew this was their deal. I think the Colorado situation, the animus in the conversations, because we were also told in the Pac-12 that the tenor and the tone of the conversations had changed, that there were a lot more presidents at the table willing to leave the conference. And by that, I mean they had indicated weakening support for the future of the Pac-12 in conversations that happened Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And we're told that's where Bobby Robbins and Michael Crow and then Taylor Randall started talking about, hey, well, we probably have to do this because this conference is not going to survive. And I think their worst fears were confirmed Tuesday when that TV deal was presented yesterday morning. I think that was simply a confirmation. I don't think it was a revelation of any kind. I don't think it was any new information of any kind. I think it was simply a confirmation that the dream is over. It is dead now. It is time to move on from this conference. And I think that's why you're hearing today Arizona, Arizona State, and Utah now are having serious discussions with the Big 12 about those three capping off Big 12 expansion. And I think that's why today you're hearing Oregon, Washington, Stanford, and Cal are likely going to be invited to the Big 10 because now we see the road. Now we see the avenues. The path to the next iteration of college football is laid out, and it is very clear. You can stay in the Pac-12 and become irrelevant, or you can take Arizona, Arizona State, and Colorado and move to the Big 12. You can take the northern contingent of Oregon, Washington, Stanford, and Cal to the Big 10, and Oregon State and Washington State will eventually migrate to the Mountain West. I think that is almost surely to happen before kickoff of the college football season because there's not a conference commissioner in this country that wants this dragging into the season.
Yeah.
There are big games. Week 0 is pretty weak, but early in the season, for all of these schools that we are talking about, their football teams have very big games. The focus needs to be on football. That's the mantra in the world right now. The focus needs to be on football when we are playing football, not on conference realignment. And I think that's why you're getting that news today.
Well, and I think that's why a school like Colorado acts so swiftly.
Yes.
Right? Like, think about Colorado's situation. I mean, it might be quite literally the best example of what you're pointing out, which is, hey, dude, we can't have expansion or realignment be a distraction during Deion's first season, right?
No.
Like, we got to act and we got to have reliability, to which I say, schools like Utah, as we've been saying over and over, and I want to reiterate this because I know we've got folks up there that listen. Dude, I love Utah. I felt a little bit annoyed about how loyal they had been to the conference. But at the same time, I've said many times, and we have said many times, they're not stupid. They understand how to run a great university. So it doesn't surprise me that they picked up the phone and they said, okay, when there's no going back, we got to call good old Bobby down south and get this thing done.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt that that's how it went down. I want to remind you that we want to send you to see BYU and the Natty making history down in Provo, Utah, as BYU. Should I say pops their cherry? Is that inappropriate? I think that's an honor code violation at BYU.
Yeah.
As BYU takes their initial bow at Lavelle Edwards Stadium, they're going to play their first Big 12 conference game at home against the Natty on September 29th at 8:15. This Friday, we are going to announce a winner. Here's how you enter the contest. One of two ways. Keep kicking ass at Super Chicks because we've had so many people go into Super Chicks in Ogden on Riverdale Road. Also, our contingent down in St. George in the GZ. All you have to do is go in, take a picture of yourself at Super Chicks, take a picture of your food with a receipt that's got a date on it. Hit me on Twitter. Hit Jake on Twitter. The Monty Show. MONTY The Monty Show. SLC Jake. Hit him on Twitter. By the way, he has like 17 followers on Twitter.
This is inaccurate.
Can somebody please go follow Jake on Twitter?
Yeah, please. You know, I'm terrible at Twitter and X and stuff.
I'm sorry.
Please.
Follow Jake on X,
Yeah,
please.
let's do some Xing.
DM us or tag us in your pictures. Tweet it out. We'll enter you in the contest. Now, a lot of people said, I need a better way to enter. I really want to win the tickets to the BYU game.
I want it.
Bucked Up Energy has stepped up to the plate, my friends. If you can't get the Super Chicks, show us you're bucked up. Every day at this time on the show, you know what we do. We hit a buckshot from Bucked Up Energy.
And again, points for creativity here, right?
Points for creativity.
Love all the Super Chick stuff we're getting. Keep going to Super Chicks. Love it. But points for creativity, man. Like, let's see what you can do as we pop some buckshot from Bucked Up Energy.
Man, I'll tell you, buckedup.com. Use the promo code Monty20 to get 20% off your purchase at buckedup.com. But you guys, show me a can of Bucked Up in your car. Show me you drinking a can of Bucked Up. Show me that you ordered Buckshot. Show me you ordered protein powder. Anything having to do with Bucked Up, show it to me. We'll enter you in the contest to win a pair of tickets to be in Provo as they open up their home Big 12 schedule, their first ever game at BYU in the Big 12 at home at Lavelle Edwards Stadium.
Hell yes.
One of the best venues for nighttime college football in the entire country. BYU, Cincinnati, September 29th. We're giving you a pair of tickets to be there. Go to Super Chicks in Ogden on Riverdale Road or in St. George, or show us you're bucked up. You do that, you're entered. We'll give you a pair of tickets on Friday. Now, everybody's been like, why are you doing it in Provo, Dick? Listen, you know the Big 12 runs through Dallas.
Tarrant County.
Texas. All hat. Bunch of cattle and shit.
Right.
So next week, for our Texas listeners.
Our contingent of Monty Nation.
Or anybody that's got a truck and can drive, or a car that can drive to Texas. Next week on this show, we are giving away a pair of tickets to what could be the most important game of the year. Yes! In the state of Texas. Texas. And you know, if there's a big game in Texas, telling you who's taking care of you.
Mm-hmm.
Who's got your hookup. That's next week on the show.
Yeah.
A week from this Friday, we're going to give away a pair of tickets to a massive football game in Texas. We'll announce that on Monday. But now here, all you have to do is get to buckedup.com, place an order, send me a screenshot on Twitter.
Do it.
Go to the store, buy yourself some Bucked Up.
Do it.
Whatever you got to do. Get it done. We'll give you a pair of BYU tickets on Friday. Let's get your comments on the show. First one in today, Cleveland Rocks. Do you sell Monty merchandise, such as shirts, lanyards, and hats? starting to think about Xmas gifts, and my son would love to have these items for you. If not, it's something you should think about. Well, for all of our old heads on this show, we have a merch line coming. Probably never, but a merch line is coming.
Yes, yes, yes.
It's been coming for years on this show. So have I, but that's off camera. The point is, a merch line is coming.
We're working on it.
Rocks. We will absolutely have it. Tom Dean for $10. Utah and ASU, Big 12. We don't want to leave our friends, right, guys? Guys, where are you going? Washington, Oregon, Stanford, and Cal. The Big 10 later, bro. Utah and ASU. Hey, Big 12. What I had meant to say was, By the way, it is absolutely dumping outside. There is a massive storm going through the Monty compound right now. William Lorick gives us $5 to say Washington, Oregon, Florida State, Clemson to the Big 10. Yeah, I don't think so.
Congratulations, but that's bullshit.
We got to talk about this ACC thing because I think we've talked about this on the show for the last couple of weeks now. I'm burned out on Florida State bitching about how much money they make everybody else. Come out and win some games. Show me something. Because Bobby Bowden ain't coming through that door anytime soon, right? Jimbo left already. Show me that you can win games. Their president's talking about how it's not it's financially inconceivable for Florida State to continue in the ACC. They're talking about at Florida State how it's a matter of when, not if. When, not if, Florida State will leave the ACC. Well, I mean, I know that you've got deep pockets over there at, SMU.
Are we clear on that?
But does Florida State have SMU money that they can afford to pay out $120 million in what is a rock-solid grant of rights? There's no getting out of the ACC grant of rights.
Well, that's the issue, isn't it?
I'd love to understand how Florida State and every Florida State fan that tweets at the show is like, we're out of here, bro. I understand you're jealous of all the Pac-12 jailbreaking happening. I totally understand that, right? You're locked in a $120 million grant of rights. How are you going to change that? You're not.
So fucked.
I mean, it is truly, and I go back to what Bob Bowlesby talked about. Who did the ACC model their grant of rights after? That'd be the Big 12. It's lock solid. It's over. You're not getting out of that unless there is a historically dramatic change in direction in the ACC.
Uh-huh.
But I think it's 9 members you need to break the grant of rights.
I'm for real.
And then you still got to pay the $120 million. So either way, you're scratching a check for $120 million.
And, by the way, if you were leaving the conference, that wouldn't happen in time near enough to join the Big Ten right now.
Like, am I the only one who thinks it's completely ridiculous that Florida State thinks that they are the bell cow of college sports? Like, who are you, dude? Florida State's that guy that walks in the room and is like, all right, I'm here. We can start. And you're like, I think you're in the wrong place, bro. Who the fuck are you? What's your name? Like, you don't even look familiar to me. Who are you? Like, wait, you don't even know who they are.
Yeah, Florida State and the Jameis Winstons. Come on, dude.
Yeah, the crab thief at Publix.
Come on.
I'm serious. I'm over Florida State's line of we're the victims and we make more money. They gave you unequal revenue sharing so you would shut up.
Yeah.
And yet all you do is run your gums and you don't win big games.
Yeah.
And I'm over it with Florida State. Listen, if Alabama or Clemson or Georgia or even stupid Southern slur down at LSU, like, hey, man, if those guys want to run their mouth, run your mouth. Like, you've won shit. What has Florida State done to be like, oh, man, you know what, man, we're victims over here. Listen, we over here at the Florida State University Victims' Rights Advocacy Conference, Like, we need assistance.
Yeah, we're first team all frog legs and no cattle. You know what I mean?
What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
I don't get it with Florida State. And I'm probably just being a jerk about it. But, yeah, I don't know. Hey, everybody, welcome Expedition Greg.
Let's go, baby.
Expedition Greg, welcome to the membership. We appreciate you, as well as Sunny.
Let's go. It's always sunny except for in South Jordan, Utah and stuff.
Yeah, where death is coming. Hell has opened up its butthole and it is raining. It is, I mean, dude.
It's butthole.
It's a little bit of rain over here. Right?
Janus.
Somebody sent me some galoshes. Do you know what galoshes are?
No.
No, neither. You probably don't. Matthew I, what's up for $2? Does today's news expedite Arizona State, and Utah to the Big 12? I think it does.
Yeah, it does.
I think it does.
Absolutely.
I think there are some logistics that you're going to have to figure out. Certainly there are logistics you're going to have to figure out. I think that's going to take a week to 10 days. If you want to do this in a hurry, and there is some belief that Brett Yormark gave a deadline, a drop-dead date, I am told if they are in the process, that doesn't matter. You're in the process, you've said yes, let's roll. I'm told that doesn't, you're good to go. Because a lot of people on Twitter today are like, oh, it's too late, the drop-dead date is passed. Well, if it's leaking out today, it's been going on for a couple of days.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? So I don't worry about that at all. My biggest question is, how does this change Big 12 football? Because I think if you add Arizona State, and Utah to BYU, Houston, Cincinnati, Central Florida, that's a completely different league now.
Well, and I think you're trending towards being not only the best basketball conference in the country, but you're trying to push your way to being one of the top football conferences in the country. And geographically speaking, they would be. You'd be in four time zones. But I think, you still have to win. And I think, for Big 12 fan, this is what I would caution you with. Yes, you're having huge success in realignment and expansion, no doubt about it. But at the same time, if Utah joins your conference and you don't win anything and Utah continues to lose bowl games of consequence, it doesn't matter, right? If TCU can't find their way back into the playoff, it doesn't matter. Now, lucky for you, the college football playoff is expanding, right? So now there's a ton more opportunity. So you would think that the Big 12 certainly would have the most representation in the college football playoff in a 4-conference setup, right? So to me,
absolutely,
I look at the Big 12 and I say, yeah, they're going to be, or they will have a strong case as being the best athletic conference in the country, just top to bottom. Now, the winningest, that's a different conversation, but most quality top to bottom, I think the Big 12 is pretty damn close to that.
Yeah, and I think if you look at, because who is the best of the best? Well, right now today it's Texas. I think Texas is the best team in this conference.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously that's irrelevant. Texas and Oklahoma are out. I think if you look a year from now, and let's assume Arizona State, Colorado, and Utah are in the conference. I won't say it the right way because I don't have to. It's my show, and I'll do whatever Jake tells me to.
It's not the Jake show. It's the Monty show,
It's not the Jake show. He wipes back to front.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's fine. I would tell you that Utah's the best football team in the conference right now. The minute that they start playing Big 12 football, because I think they're on par with TCU and K-State, who I think you'd have to put there. And again, Mike Gundy, I'm looking at you, dude. Like, is Mike Gundy going to get back to, being a man who's 40? I don't know.
Yeah.
Because that's the Mike Gundy we need.
Yeah.
What is...
I'm a man!
Does Kansas keep climbing? Because Kansas and Arizona are remarkably similar in football, right?
Yeah.
I look at this conference, and I think a year from now, assuming Utah's in it, Utah, TCU, and K-State, I think you got to look at what Joey's doing in Lubbock, because I still maintain that Texas Tech has a chance to be the shocker of this conference. There is no doubt about that. They have a chance to be the shocker of this conference this year.
Yeah.
This could be a stacked football conference. There The minute that Arizona State, and Utah are in the Big 12, they're better than the Big 10.
Yeah, if I'm talking about top dogs in the Big 12 with additions assumed, Texas is one just because this year, I think talent-wise, you just have to put them there. I'm the guy who said they're overrated as hell. They haven't won a damn thing, and they disappoint every single year, and I'm still that guy. But that doesn't change the fact that on paper, you got to put them number one. I'd have TCU number two. I would then
put
have
TCU number two.
Yeah, because they've been to the national championship. Like, you've been there.
Okay.
Like, you've actually shown you can win the bowl game, you can work your way through the college football playoff, and you can get to the game at least. So I'm putting TCU there. Then I would put Utah there. And then I think it's everybody else at that point. I think no matter what program you look at, whether you want to look at new additions or current, I mean, they've got a lot to prove, dude. I look at Baylor. Blake Shapen's got to show me something. I look.
But I don't think Blake's their starting core. I think Dave Aranda has to show us something.
Yeah.
Excuse me, because I don't think they're there. I don't think Blake Shapen's there next year.
Well,
it is. I think when you look at, and this is what will happen with Utah. Everybody's going to say Utah's overrated. You're just a homer. I'm not a Utah fan, right? I'm a Notre Dame fan.
Well, you're a dying Mormon BYU fan.
Right. I'm 50 and I'm fat and I'm going to die soon. That was according to Oklahoma State fan.
Right.
But he was wrong. It's fine.
Because it's garbage.
I couldn't be further away from the LDS Church being a recovering Catholic if I tried. But the point is, Utah will have a stellar defense.
Yeah.
Their quarterback depth chart is as good as it's ever been. Their offensive line is going to be fantastic for the next 3 years. There's nothing that you will see from Utah that would make you think that they are weak or could not compete at the top of this conference. They don't have to ramp up. They've already done that. So they're in a better spot than BCU. I combined a bunch of BYU, Houston, UCF, or Cincinnati, who all have to ramp up.
Yeah.
Utah immediately jumps them. They're better than Kansas. They're better than Oklahoma State's been. Like, it's going to be hard to make an argument. And we need to see it, because I got to believe that Sonny Dykes and TCU backslides a little bit. As good as they were last year.
Yeah.
It's so hard to repeat at that level. Oh, by the way, Utah does that routinely. In a conference that is absolutely ball-crushing in football in the Pac-12.
Yeah.
I think Utah comes in. I think they're the best team in the conference as soon as they kick off in that conference.
I am open to the idea, and everyone really should be, that Utah's schedule gets easier joining the Big 12, not harder. I absolutely believe that, and I think.
Did you feel the building shake right there?
Yes, the building just shook from thunder. That was
There's
crazy.
thunder. There's thunder that is shaking the building right now.
Yeah. More comments. What are the people saying? More
All
comments.
right, let's fight over it, because you guys clearly are likes to
more
fight
comments.
guys. Let's do that. Let's see. Oh, wow, look at that. Robert Satterley gives us a $50 super sticker.
Go.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Big Bad Brass Bulls. Still one of my favorite names. You're way too high on Utah. Get off that cheap drug. Well, but again, and balls, I'm happy to have it. What else am I going to call
If you
him?
felt these balls,
What else am I going to call him?
Balls.
Hey, balls. Got to have a hand motion there.
Yeah.
Seriously, think about it. What does Utah not have? Brant Keithy's a hundo P, right? So the best tight end in the country's back. You have Cam Rising. And I agree that Cam is not an elite level. He's not a top 10 quarterback in the country.
But he's good enough to win you ball games.
He is good enough to win you a national championship.
All I have in this world is my balls.
When does Cam Rising show up? Now, he misses that throw against Florida. But he shows up in big moments. He shows up in big games.
Yeah.
And the guy is an absolute animal. Now, he gets hurt being that animal. But Cam Rising in a big moment, there are a few quarterbacks I would take over him. Is he Michael Penix? Is he Caleb Williams? No, absolutely he's not. But you look at the way that Max Duggan carried TCU last year, there's no reason that Cam Rising isn't in that same class.
Right.
He's absolutely in that same class. Their defense is better than your defense.
That I would agree with.
Kyle
Best defense in
Whittingham,
the Big 12, no
and
doubt.
I get it. A lot of people don't know this, and I'm not even begrudging people who don't believe, agree, know this. But trust me, you're wrong if you believe that Kyle Whittingham's defense isn't the best defense in your conference.
Yeah.
And the only way that he ever proves you wrong is they come and they step on your chest, bro. They are physical, they are fast, and they are ball hawks.
Yeah.
That Utah defense up in Salt Lake City, I warn you now, do not sleep on that defense. You want to complain about explosiveness in the offense, play calling, conservatism? Knock yourself out.
Yeah.
Do they run the ball too much? Probably. But don't say two words about their defense because the Utes are coming for that neck, dude. I promise you that at a baseline. They will come in and they will be the best defense in your conference. And I would put them with Texas. I think Texas has more athletes, but Texas and Utah's defense,
Yeah.
those are two of the best defenses in the country. I put them with Georgia. I put them, you pick your best defense in the country. Kyle Whittingham's defense at Utah is right there. Offense, okay, we can talk about that. But by the way, they've always had a mail carrier on that offense.
Yeah.
Always. They put running backs in the NFL now. Always, unless they're crazy and going to jail. Different story.
Yeah, they don't have first-team SRT issues.
They don't. Tom Dean, Big 12, 4 time zones, East, Central, Mountain, and Arizona. See, I mean, Brett's getting what he asked for, right?
Yeah, I mean, he wants 4 time zones. He wants to be, nationwide. So I don't. Again, if you're Brett Yormark, you're living good right now.
Let's see. Big Bad Brass Bulls, a member for 2 months. Love you and your balls. I'm in it for the. I can't help myself.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm in it for the long haul. Go, Monty and Jake. Appreciate you. Richard Berger gives us $5. Thank you. Couple of new members to shout out. Puddles.
Ducks fan. Okay. Welcome to the program.
Puddles. How are you? Mahomes Mountain. I could have said some stuff about our previous incarnation of Duck Fan on this show.
Yeah. But you didn't.
But I did.
Give Buddy a chance to dig his own hole.
Or splashing his own puddles. Mahomes Mountain, welcome to the show. Appreciate you. Rick Jr. says, who do you think was worse for the PAC, Larry Scott or George Kliavkoff?
Oh, I think they're even just in their own ways, sir.
I think there is significant reason to believe that George Kliavkoff has created far more problems from the problems he was handed because, Uncle Monty always has life advice for you. The problem's not the problem. The problem is your reaction to the problem.
Okay, fuck you. How's that?
Larry Scott didn't have a TV deal? Okay, go get a TV deal. Oh, you didn't do that? Okay. Well, your reaction to Larry Scott's problem is you didn't.
You have a deal.
Right? Hey, yeah, we're not going to. Screw the Holiday Bowl. Yeah. Problem. Hey, we're not going to expand. Problem.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm not going to have good relationships with my presidents, so they're going to leave the conference. Problem. Those are all George Kliavkoff's doing. Oh, we're going to have this amazing scheduling alliance and never had a scheduling alliance.
Nope.
Problem. Couldn't expand. Problem. People hate you. Problem.
People hate you.
You choke on your own saliva every time you have to make a speech.
It's
Problem.
not the best situation, and we all know that.
Your problem is you're the problem.
Bro.
Right? Patrick Borden says Georgie Porgy. There we go. Jess says, just sub. Great content, gents. Keep it up. Thanks, Jess. Appreciate
you.
And if everybody who's here, we've had over 10,000 views on the show this 1 hour. If you guys could hit the like button, we'd like to get 1,000 likes per show. Please do that. There's 2,753 people watching the show right now. If you guys could, if you are not subscribed, please subscribe. We're trying to get to 25,000 subscribers by kickoff. We're at 21,100. So we appreciate you doing that. Welcome to the Monty Show. As always, hour number 1 of the show is presented by our good friends at Papa Murphy's Pizza. The official pizza of the Monty Show is Papa Murphy's Pizza, where, by the way, the best item at Papa Murphy's Pizza is not always the pizza, my friends. Quite regularly, it's the marinara meatball.
At Papa Murphy's, we do more than just pizza. We do meatballs and marinara.
Actually, I do the meatballs and marinara.
And how do you do it, Dad?
How do I do it? How do I do it?
Order now at papamurphys.com.